Okay, so now that you're in move-in period, you're in 1936, 2076, 2036. You're in move-in period is where you migrating. Is where you're migrating and doing all type of Western expansion type deal. You working on your manifest destiny of a sort. So that's pretty much what I major in as far as, being able to be a student in college and, being able to attend orientation as intended and, being able to understand the policies that I agree with as far as knowing the FAFSA, the W-2, knowing more of the Scantron effects that appear in the day of midterm reviews. So, based off that, you're done with school, off that, knowing more about, the categories that you need to know about that excels you to a bachelor or to a master's or to a doctoral degree. So, unlike other forms, I want to be like a bachelor's degree instead of a doctor's degree or a master's degree, just because it performs a perfect professional type of gig for 1979 to 2085 as it serves as lifetime membership. So, that's pretty much what we want to be able to last, a good 38, 92 months, a decade, as we put our yearly experiences on our skill level, and being able to work a little bit of skill level with experience with our workday and ego herb performances at the time. So it's pretty much working with a particular type of skill level and it working at a GDP or CMP or in that area of um, accepted ratios. That's pretty much what you're looking for as far as being a part of a FDIC and, being able to be part of 1979 of 2002 is one of those parts that recollects you for being a representative at the time. So, other than, it being, Whataburger or P. Terry's or Ready Ice or Waste Management or, just a stock trade type of deal, that's pretty much where you're working with all types of combination of products, no matter how you're looking at it. You're serving for the community and, that's pretty much what you're doing to promote more for the ability of, respect, the responsibility and, cleanliness, being able to practice more what you preach and, preach your honesty and being able to preach more of what you know best about what you do daily. So that's pretty much what you're talking about. At least 36 million times out of 10, 56 million times out of 10, and 77 million times out of 10. So that's pretty much working with ABC of just $10 at a time. So it's pretty much where you're not using $100 all the time. You're not using 500. You're not using 500 hundreds as you would use to purchase 571 boxes of fries. You're not using that. Instead of using fries, you would use it toward macaroni, and it's pretty much where you're using a share of macaroni for $571 when you can be able to buy a pack of fries for, a compound combination pack, which gives you more of a Corsa, more of a Penske, more of a Comcast type deal, a longer lasting, durable ride. And, that's pretty much what you're looking for after you find that 1971 Camaro to that 2014 Lincoln that you see. And, that's one of the broadest things that you can find on a Saturday evening to a Wednesday evening and, back to a Friday morning, being able to know more about the Friday morning and, being able to organize your own attendance for work day and, we work in Adobe and, being able to assign, more of what the human casualties would be for, a health deposit of 9,600. So, it's being able to know more about a premium benefit that, that endorses more income. So, other than it being more of 37 ways, it's more of 376 ways how to increase your benefits, whether you're 5 years old or, you're 55 years old. So, it's pretty much where it's representing more for the lower age instead of the lower income. So, it's pretty much, looking for the BMW of, business at the time, who got that BMW more likely at the time. It's not about who got a speck of it, who got a lot of it. And, we want to be able to practice this stuff in general population. So, you want to have the greater grade of advantage for, the environments that you care for, and, be able to know more about in your populations as you grow in your home development from a solo family home, and being able to work into a multi-family home. So it's pretty much sharing 1937 with 2027, being able to go to 2079, and whether you're in Texas or Arizona or in Nevada of California, you being able to express yourself, whether you're in 1986, and this is all Glade, Swiffer, YouTube, you use that stuff. So, it's pretty much where it's all a company, a PFG, a PNG, PFG, Johnson, all that good commercials. So, you're using a compound of all types of good stuff, even though, you might not like it, or it might not be the specific type that you like. You can at least enjoy it, and, it have a favoritism towards it, as it being, a popular brand of its sort. So, that's pretty much where you're working with ATS and Passions. You're working with ATS and Passions. You're working with Charger and Passions. You're working with i328 Passions by the BMW. You can always use that BMW. That's a good BMW of 2014 to 2018. So that is a good $80,000 car you buy for a good $20,000 APR, at the end of the year. And, that's pretty much where you just being able to put a good deposit for having a good product at your service. And, that's pretty much what you're paying for, as you think that retailer and its subscribers for that type of detail. So, that's pretty much getting used to YouTube, Comcast, Vivo, Vine. You're using that whole core process, 76 times, 376 times. And, the thing is, companies and brands like Comcast can't get enough of it, just because it's the only file that they might need that makes a good component, as to what you see, when you see population wanting to go swimming, or, wanting to recreate in the aquatic pools today. So, it's using everyday 37, 42 materials to promote more for that, as you make more for Google Fi and Google Docs, and support more of your swimming pool guidance. And, basically how you support it is you just got to be able to use your intuitive acknowledgments to, use more of a cleansier supply for yourself. So, it's teaching you how to proper yourself so you can clean and make a good gesture for how to a good gesture technique for how to make a prominent mood for cleaning, and how to just over it. Just because I have problems cleaning myself, we go through 254 weeks of leisure, and being able to work with PFG, Granger, Penske, Enterprise, dealing with 3 million in revenue 556 times is what you're working with, as you work with at least 26 dimes, 36 dimes, 36, 33 dimes. You're working with those dimes like that. So, that's at least working with $5 of $536, at least 565 times going to Comcast, going to MoneyGram, going to TransUnion Reflect. And, that's just basically collecting albums of tracks that, have individual avenues that, you connect with one another, and, being able to use more of a Z-strip imagination, that combines companies and, makes the community more progressive at the hour. So, it's just like Google Five, but, other companies come in um to propel the community and, be able to make the community more beneficial towards its common environment. So, it's pretty much being able to make it more of a destined place for the humankind to live, for judicial or a secretary of state or for a lawyer at the time or a detective at the time. So, you just want to be able to practice cleanliness as you make those consumption rates for yourself. So, it's pretty much, you being your state of boss of what you can do on your deposition of um of supply at the time. If you got it, what right do you have? And, if you have a right, you know, is it always going to be good if you have, depositions that will represent you, even though, you need, more deposition for yourself. You needed more hundreds, more tens. So, instead of it being 1021 tens, you need to be 1021 hundreds, just because it's been 80 years already, thanks to BMW of 2818. So, that's just looking at, July to December of Normandy. And, you're looking at more of 2:16 p.m. to 8:16 p.m. So, you're pretty much working with different instances on CNN, Comcast, T-Mobile, Vivo. You're just doing different descriptions based off those midpoints. So, it's pretty much, as the conversation goes on, it's about these conversations as well as we speak on the international interstates today. So, it's pretty much working with Penske, that's working with TF Truck. As subscribers subscribe to their main channels, that's pretty much what we're using on the daily use of software data nowadays in 54, 74, 24 of July to November. So, it's pretty much as you're using purple, green, and white statistics for, Rome, old Spain, and India and Italy. And, it's pretty much we're using a intercontinental Romania for, the intercontinental citizens of the world, that they represent F1, they represent Frost, they represent Google Docs, they represent Google Infomark, they represent, and, the thing about Google Infomark is, it's just a weather guide. It's being able to propose a little extra antiques like Google Fi is at the same time. It's just a telemarketer at the time. And, the thing about it is it's a different compound of telemarketing. And, you see this a lot of times with sport athletes is, why am I different from the average nerd or geek on the street at the time? That's pretty much what you're seeing at the time. So, it's pretty much been that way since 2013 of 2027. And, that's pretty much what we're working with our Rosewood Springs of at least 271 semester high at the time. So, that's pretty much as the district penal codes, achieve greater extensions. That's pretty much where you're using, more of, Comcast, Google Fi, ATT fiber, you're being able to import that good stuff. So, that's pretty much using, characteristics that inspired by Leonardo da Vinci at the end of the day of 1839 to 1939. So, it's pretty much in the art of feng shui, as you know more about, all that capital reserve stuff, that you see, whether it's an elephant or a donkey or a state or a or a court, being able to know more about court at the time. So, us being able to know more about $30 million being in reference, according to the deposits that you put in, that's at least putting in at least $5,600 in deposits and, getting at least 2776 reference back to where you need to be and how you need to be, of how you need to be, you know, acquainted at the time. It's pretty much where you're working with doctors, you're working with Nautica, you're working with you're working with Dolce and Gabbana, you're working with Versace, Louis Vuitton. You got different idols out there of South Ireland to Tokyo, from 8839 to 2209 to 1320. That's pretty much where you're looking at those details at the time of orange, green, and blue districts at the time. So it's pretty much where you're looking at Connolly's district. You're looking at Sam Houston's district. You're looking at Green Bay's district. You're looking at Seahawks district. You're looking at Boston Celtics district. You're looking at Denver Nuggets districts. You're looking at LA Lakers district. So it's already full as you practice government of world history at the time. So it's pretty much being able to see the stars that and being able to excel with the endurance that they spend every 371 hours of expectation at the time. So it's pretty much using more for Sprite, Coca-Cola, and Sierra Mist as you use more for 370 miles of deposition, whether it was a high school semester or whether it was a lifelong journey for myself. So it's pretty much putting all I wanted in as I approved when I did that run text at Bun Run. It's pretty much approving that detail and doing more of what I like to approve more for what conjures me of more incitement for comfort and reliability at the time. That's pretty good to see my pal on the truck or playing baseball or going outside and recreating, being able to be 76, 56, in that speculation at the time. So that's a bigger environmental agricultural that's a bigger environmental agricultural decision at the time. It's pretty much hard on the senior citizen after 1976 of 2036, after you have so many downfalls of Dallas and Reagan, and being able to know more about the statistics, the after effects and the statistics of that is pretty much what Max Preps gained, as we gained 36 yards, 76 yards, 15 yards, 46 yards, 35 yards, 32 yards, 22 yards. We gained those yards back and forth, all 4 quarters for 14, 13, and 12 games long, for 4 games straight. So, it's pretty much where you just practicing more deposition for endurance and, making more toward, compound combinating, making more for combined like turns for your Jefferson area at the time. So, other than that, that's pretty much where track credits go. That's where football credits go. And, it's pretty much where baseball credits go. It's pretty much where you're using a bigger incitement for, EcoHerb 747 as it makes its company profile of JB Hunt's districts. And, it's pretty much as you make it more towards oatmeal, cornbread, and onions, and, macaroni and, all that good stuff. So, that's pretty much where you want to be able to know more about your common good. And the thing about it is, nowadays the normal 2005 person is going to know everything in this colony that happens, and is pretty much where you're seeing the common norm happening since 2008 of 2022. So you're pretty much going to see that standard individual form happening as you grow from 2038 to 2078. So that's pretty much how you keep more housekeeping and groundskeeping and landscaping, and working with more than just a game at the hour. So it's pretty much where you being able to be virtual with your lifestyle scenes, and being able to be part of nature at the time. So it's pretty much where you practicing your rejuvenation, getting your wusa or your taboo in, reading your chapters, getting your insight in. So it's pretty much working on Chronicles of Narnia, or even um, Polar Express, or even working with Penske at the time. So that's pretty much where you're working with those details, and working at least 37 hours, 79 hours, 42 hours of insight at the time. Whether you want to read or have insight hour, that's pretty much where you want to get in that mode where you have different modes of contrast, as though the Charger was made, the Cadillac CTS was made like that, the BMW i328 was made like that, the Z71 is made like that. So that's pretty much where you're looking at more of an option feed for a multi-platform type deal at the time. So it's pretty much where you gotta bump up the intuition rates, and be able to use bigger compounds of statistics that promote more for the combination rate of APR, and looking at AARP of Jackson Hewitt and USAA. So it's pretty much using those fields to promote more for $37 million in reference, and being able to use it toward trans tax, which is pretty much where you're using it on your own personal use. So that's pretty much where the money that my dad gives me goes, as it goes to trans tax. So instead of me having fun with it, or doing anything else with it, as far as buying newer chrome parts, working with the automotive industry at Penske, or being able to work with their amusements, their amusement gatherings, working with the automotive industries, or that's pretty much where majority of the time goes, if it's not food or healthy hygiene affiliated requirements. So that's pretty much working with the high flow of how to handle lifestyle, critical lifestyles at the time. So that's pretty much where you got to be able to deal with a lot of critical accessories at the time. So that's pretty much where you're looking at battery life, you're looking at hydration, you're looking at starvation levels, you're looking at the whole nine. So that's just as being as part of a CDL licensed driver as possible, as you stay focused on what it concerns you from 371 miles from Dallas to Penske at the time. So that's pretty much where you're working with at least 37 million to promote that 3756 as a tax deficit and avoid content product at the time. So that's purple, yellow, and orange of at least 275 different tax deficits at the time. So it's pretty much working with at least $360 each tax deficit that there is. So that's more than a quarter, that's more than a dime, that's more than a $10, that's more than a $20. So at least you get your benefit of the doubt, as you're a 371 company brand at the time. So that's pretty much working with a Sears of its own brand. So, it's pretty much Eco Herb, PMC, Two Squared, Eco Leaf, Mega Platforms, Bill Worth Lot Industries and Enterprises, Catfish Industries, Mr. Catfish. You working with the whole nine at the time, as far as you being part of a subscription as, and, more familiar to Corsa, more familiar to PlayStation, and being able to know the difference between a 3 and a 5 is pretty much where you get my categories of depositions and subscriptions from. As we figure out the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Network of PlayStation 3, and figure out the downloads that you can get as far as having a game on there and having music played while you're playing the game, and being able to do different multitasking productions on that singular computer is pretty much what we want to do, as it learns its software data, its digital software data. So that's pretty much reason why it's called a PlayStation, is because it's a graphic design that designs that system, and makes it more 1937 of 2036 at the time. So it's giving you a more model of your modern Camaro. So instead of it being a 2018, it's a 2024 Camaro. So it's pretty much working with at least 28,000 extra that you can spend on top of the highest GDP rating. So it's pretty much as you spend a popular standard on how much you pay. That's pretty much where you're using a primary payment of at least 36,000 for at least your first production of the year, and that's pretty much using that i328 BMW performance. Where you put your best foot forward and you bought the best car you could buy at the hour. So that's pretty much where you're using that for Jackson Hewitt, AARP, USAA. Using it for those constituents, and that should cost up to at least 57, 60, 80, 8,600. So that's at least 300, 3,000, $30,000 that you spent. Being able to know more about Penske coordinates, to ABF, to Stephen Transport. So it's being able to show you more about Rolls Royce of $36 million coming from 1896 to 2036, and being able to show you different districts and different profiles and different programs of U.S. government and local state policies at the time. So it's unlike Miami, unlike Palms View or Palms Valley or Palm Springs, or in Oklahoma or Kansas or Kentucky or Colorado or Nebraska, or Nevada, or the state of California. So it's pretty much working with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and working with him on those looks of Terminator, looking at those depositions. So that's putting you on look of 2027 to 2047 as you get in the incline of a greater deposition of a higher profile film that you watch on a normal day. So that's pretty much a bunch of the movie that you haven't seen that you can get a good glimpse of, that defines more of the primary movie that was out at the time. So that's pretty much what we want to be able to promote at the time. So that's working with at least 376 groups being notified at the time of Comcast, Vine, T-Mobile. We're working on that as far as knowing more about Comcast, T-Mobile, and Vivo. And the thing about it is that different groups that use 37, 76, 36 different documents to purchase time intervals of 90 minutes and 30 minutes involved at the time. So That's pretty much where you can, pay for deferments and, be able to use more toward, common composites for, higher stakes and, being able to know more about the greater common judgments that use more of 576 counties to provide for 50 different countries of uh, 50 different countries of description at the time. That's pretty much where you're using 1956 and 2076 and using 28, 86, 36 degrees at that. So, it's pretty much using, fries or rice or sausage or, even Hot Pockets at the time. So, it's pretty much using, 2006 of 2022 and, using, the deposition between the two of 2.1 from 1886 to 1933, and being able to use more of FDR, Franklin D. Roosevelt, and it's pretty much as you using him, George Bush, using Ronald Reagan, and Ronald Reagan and George Bush at the same time. So that's pretty much as you using those compliance, using those like 40,000 times. So that's pretty much as you use the icons for uh, navigation travel. So that's pretty much using $3.7 million and of $20,000, and being able to provide a copy duplicate of what Max Preps is and what People is at the time, and what Sources and what Sports Illustrated is at the time. So I was pretty much working with my career as far as it being 2027 to 2246, and like right now in any other condition, we're just moving through it. We're just trying to enjoy the best we can, and be able to agree with the Lord, and understand more about the responsibilities the Lord has to take care of is what we're going through over here on this side of town. So, it might be a big issue, but it's pretty much what we're working with to promote more for the positive intents that could intrigue better acknowledgments. Being able to know more about your common greater acknowledgments is always good. Instead of it being 87, it's 897, greater acknowledgments. And, that's just coming from the average day Jeremy, average day Jeremy on East Side and Houston Tillotson at the time. So, that's pretty much working with 7th Street and HEB out there. So, that's pretty much working with the locations that he knew about my prestigious districts at the time, other than it being North Lamar or Breaker or Burnett at the time of 1937 to 2069 of fries prominently and shrimp. So, that's pretty much as we starting our 3769 anniversary. That's pretty much as we starting, more for my 20th year birthday bash. Yeah, so that's pretty much as I start more towards the open in life, and being able to understand more about how my life starts is pretty much how I start my 27-year-old life in college, and understanding my deposition as my capital tyranny is affiliated with my local county tyranny. And the thing is, we're just looking for extra counties at my deposition of display at the time. So this is pretty much all point of sudden link of local advancements at the time. So if you got it, we won't, that's pretty much me just saying that the majority of the time. So if you got it, and we offering it, it's pretty much what we want to be able to have at the time. So it's pretty much using 36 dimes, 76 dimes, 36 dimes. So a total of that's at least $536.36 as you use more for a treated composite or treaty compromise of, sort of information update at the time or a notification at the time. So, that's pretty much where you're using your 1936 or your 2037 Infinity 2012 to 2018 advancements at the time, as you spend more money on 12-year investments from 2012 to 2027, and being able to work with that advancement is pretty much where you're using 2015's experiences and skills at the time. So that's pretty much using 37.79%, 442 times, 42 times, 39 times. So, the part of the thing that I'm teaching you is, more experience with multiplication. And, that's pretty much what I'll push you to promote you into doing, is putting more endurance and more infatuation um, with your intuitive sport. It's pretty much doing what you do for the reason that you do it. So, that's pretty much why do you do your sport. You're trying to figure out an intuitive reason. So, it's pretty much where you're using 33, 26 yards to promote that detail. So, that's pretty much where you got to use 5 minutes off to promote a full speed momentum. So, that's using 5,056,26 times on just French fry at the time. So, that's using at least $236 of income, with at least 5, 6, 3 different 20s at the time. So, that's pretty much where you're using your own state of union to promote more for your advancements of 56, 36, and 46 hours, as you promote more for yellow, green, and blue statistics. So, that's pretty much using 1956, 2047, 2067% to increase more for 38 million to 38 billion. And, the thing is, you can do everything you want with money, but is you going to be able to, accommodate it the way that you need in order to make time go the way you want? That's the difference between Giorgio Armani and Calvin Klein and Rolex at the time. It's pretty much where you're looking at, how you calculate your time at the time. So, it's pretty much always going to be a stop every 37 hours, every 86 hours, every 42 hours on that good stuff. So, you always got to be up close of it, up tent. And, that's word to the wise on registration services at the time, working on your beginning representation of how you start your career. So, it's pretty much where you starting it at a air flight services, where you got all type of wallpapers of all type of conditions that remind you of you or your team or your representative at the time. And that's pretty much where you're using more of your Philadelphia or more of your Chicago or more of your Illinois sufficiency for yourself as you work on San Marcos or Kyle or Smithville or Brenham or Dime Box or, in the area. So, it's pretty much where you're using CNN, you're using Whataburger, DQ, you're using these things. So, it's pretty much where you're using more of how to promote more for how you use more for Comcast, T-Mobile, and that's pretty much where $37 million is referenced at, as you build calculation on Google Docs and Outlook. So that's pretty much the basic website development skills that you need to promote more for your 876 categories and 8,800 portions of different wallpapers and designs for yourself. So it's pretty much using that there to use at least $576 of increased APR. Whether it's a Mitsubishi or a Scion or a 1500 GMC Sierra. That's pretty much what you're going up against at the time in 2016 to 20 to 26. So, that's just working with the average day $5.5 million deal at the time. So, you got to be able to put that money up, in order to put that. So, I was working with other categories of other districts of other departments at the time. So, I was pretty much working with, year 2027 to year 2037 as we, figure out, more deposition as, to what the cars cost and, what its net worth is and, what can we get across the line that is a perfect intuitive balance for the driver, the purchaser, the driver, the dealer in the dealership, and the manufacturer and the brand for itself. And that's pretty much where you getting that whole 337, 77, 74 deal for yourself. And that's just basically what you're paying that 350.49 for. Majority of the time that you see that 915 show up, out of that 1815. So that's pretty much where you're getting majority of your profit of what you see coming off the retail that you just saw off the Z71 Sierra 2009. So that's pretty much where you're looking at that good digital detail instead of the Corolla, and pretty much working with the digital detail of 2027, of 2029, of Delta flight at the time. So it's pretty much being able to add more points to your Comcast or to your T-Mobile or to your Vivo or to your VLAD, and being able to know more about what you do daily and how you innovate with your Spotify spots at the time. So it's pretty much where you're figuring out more deposition to what you do on your metropolitan year that reminisce you of 2021 and 2027 as a moderate base year of every year that you've been in, and being able to celebrate Thanksgiving, New Year's, and celebrating New Year's, Thanksgiving, and St. Patrick's Day is pretty much what we want to do at the same time. So I was pretty much working with a treaty towards seasons at the time, with a treaty towards season of holidays at the time. So that's pretty much what we're working on as far as knowing 33,000 from 110 being made. So it's pretty much working with 133,000. So it's pretty much working with purple, green, and white divisions of 37, 86, and 27 dimes being released. So that's pretty much working with BMW, Charger, Impala, Premier. You're working with the Grand Cherokee. You're working with the Infiniti, the Ram truck, the Chevy Tahoe 18. So that's a nice durable cab. That 2018 Chevy Tahoe is a nice durable cab at Enterprise. They chose a nice model at that time. So it's pretty much where you have at least the moderate depositions that you want as far as having a judgment for what type of car it is, and knowing what type of style that you want to be able to perceive for your personal examination. And that's pretty much what I spent on the Z71 is you got new wheels, you got a nice motor. The truck is a nice symbol of his own mogul. This is his own nice symbol of his own nice mogul. So you already got your 1976. And the thing about my deposition is it was sharing a deposition of a familiar state of his landscape at the time. It's pretty much a local tyranny of Waco, Abilene, and Lubbock. Not Lubbock, but Waco, Abilene, and Amarillo, and Luling. Yeah, Waco, Abilene, and Luling. So, that's pretty much what we're working on as far as doing 376 miles from 1876 miles. So, that's pretty much what we're working with there for 2274. So, that's working with idolizers and secretaries and clerks all over the deposition of $9,800 and $98,000, and pretty much doing that 99 times, 81 times, 21 times at Capital Reserve. So, that's just making bigger tax deficits for the tax references of the bill statement. So, being able to, know more about having a primary composite for, being able to conserve that good stuff and, being able to have good deposition towards paying the payments off as well. So, it's pretty much paying that W-2 off or, paying um, that bill statement off or paying that congressional law order off. So, it's a total of 5776 recommended reference tax references that you can be able to go to that's worth a good fortune of decency at the end of the day. So, that's pretty much what we're working with at Balfour. That's what we're working with at AIG. That gets us more closer combative with our contrast with our photosynthesis at the time. So, that's pretty much what we're looking at the end of the day at All Point and Satellink Agriculture. So, that's at least 557, 76 depositions of contrast going to 56, 76 subscriptions of that Camaro or of that multi-family home or the 2-family bedroom or the Sterling. So, you're using that 1956 to 2026, and that's just using up to about 986 million on household housekeeping. Whether it's Comet, pine soil, or bleach, Clorox. You're using that 1937 to 2027, going on to 2056 to 2086. You got to use big depositions to make your way, and that's part of making tax references and tax deficits for yourself, and being able to clear it out with a bill statement. So, the thing is, you gotta be influenced to know what to do. You gotta have that motivation that and what you do. That's being able to know 37, 76 minutes before time, and being able to know Hulu from Pluto, from Fifi, and know more of ABC from PBS at the time. So, that's pretty much using 2027 to 2072 of Heather Wild satellites at the time. So, that's pretty much working with at least 276 homes at the residence. Working with 276 homes at the resident. So, that's pretty much working with 976 different properties at the local property. So, it's pretty much working with 9,716%. Within that durability of announceability. So, it's pretty much just working with at least 57 hours, 78 hours instead of 560 hours, 760 hours of 860 hours. So, it's pretty much where you're working with D Wall. You're working with Penske, you're working with Granger, Penske, and D-Wall, and that's pretty much where you're using different multi compounds of those, whether you're using extended form or standard form, and being able to use as many compounds that you like at the time is what you use every $3.3 million a dime at the time. So, it's pretty much depending on what type of product that you want to buy and what you want to do with it at the time. So, that's pretty much working with at least 3.6 million at the time of purple, red, and green. Acknowledgments at the time. So it's pretty much working with 3676 dimes as far as acknowledgement goes. So it's pretty much white, blue, and red at the time. So it's where you're working with the pre-examination. So it's working with iOS 8 of Adobe at Google Docs, and being able to deal with more of the societal networks of movie scenes like Hulu, Free Feed, Pluto. You're looking at that good stuff. So that's pretty much where you're using at least 37 million at, using those conversations and adaptabilities at the time. So that's pretty much where you're using all that deposition at, as you spend more on $3.7 million of reference at the time. So that's pretty much using $80,000 to promote that good stuff with purple, red, and green intents. So it's pretty much $37,774 of promotions going toward that good stuff. So that's pretty much going towards that BMW i328 or that Lexus F Sport or that Camaro SS or that X5 with a Porsche turbocharger, that Porsche turbo. Mm-hmm. That's 2009 to 2021, 2091. So let's see what we can do about that. What can we do about that that resolves energy and makes more efficiency towards how we think and how we moderate. It's pretty much where you got to think of more of your sustainability, your drinking levels. Being able to know more about your alcohol percentages at the time. So it's pretty much being able to reduce the alcohol drinking and as much as you can, as far as you having the good spouts you was looking for. So that's pretty much where you reduce and stay inclusive with your prominent demand for the next 37, 56 years. So that's pretty much working with 2006 to 2022, and working with 2046 at the end of the day. So it's pretty much working with Austria Lagoon of Google Docs at Outlook, and being able to be more impassioned with the alerts and notifications of the digital network at the time. So that's pretty much what we're learning at with 57, 66, 76 dimes at the amount that we have now. So that's working with that Camaro, or it could be working with that Grand Cherokee or Charger or Chrysler 300S or Chrysler 300C. Depending on what it is, it's pretty much working with at least 315 of those. So it's pretty much a different objective every deal that you make. So you working with at least 376 objectives that go different ways depending on what contrast they're at. So it's pretty much working with 37, 75 different orders being produced, and 376 tax deficits being accepted at the time. And so far a tax deficit could be like a $10 bill. So that's pretty much where you're using $33 to pay for it, and eat more resigned stuff. So it's pretty much using Sam Houston's intent. Being able to use that whole semester rise for 97 and 37 in 2006. So that it pretty much brings us up to CNN, Comcast, and T-Mobile, and being able to use it with more of Vivo, more of Vine, more of Whataburger. You're using at least 86, using at least 86, 49, 3700s on, at least three burgers at the time. So, that's pretty much we got to watch that in 1859 to 2025. So, it's pretty much, at least $30,000 off the average price that it usually costs, in 2019 from 1890 at the time. So, that's pretty much working with big depositions from the west side of town. So, that's pretty much where we use more depositions as far as that go. So, I was using more towards 2025 of New Deal era, Reconstruction era, and Ronald Reagan era, and, being able to advance and, be more affiliated with the national environment of these types of organizations, and, being able to approve environmental propositions for these types of moguls or modules at the time, as you focus more on driving and, being from, driver's license corrected math at the time, as you focus more on intuitive acknowledgments at the time, or intuitive advancements at the time. So, it's pretty much where you're using those digital details to promote more for your automotive history, and, being able to use more for AutoZone, Penske, Firestone, Jiffy Lube, using those different supply chains to promote more for that good stuff. So, that's pretty much where you're using those depositions, purple, green, and white, all day, every day. This pretty much using $376, majority of the time, as it combined like terms with $388 and $886. So, it's being able to use different bonus benefactors of 376 modules at the hour, as it makes more deposition for Rodeo Austin and Heat Wave at the time. So, it's pretty much something else to look for in the summer of Saturdays and Wednesdays and Fridays. So that's something to look for when I go downtown and somebody shouts, you need more T-Coupe for yourself. So, it's pretty much where you're using more peas, more corn, more rice, being able to be from that imagery is pretty much where you're sharing more of the characteristics of that seminar of that environment. So, that's pretty much what you want as far as knowing more about Monsters Inc. or, more about Incredibles, or, more about Madagascar at the time. So, I was pretty much using, 2036 with 2055 of 2015, as you make more of a, commercial investment for 36 documents of W2, 36 documents of bill statements, and W2 documents of reference notes. So, it's pretty much where you're using 50, 60, 34 reference notes to promote that every 7:15 in the morning. Using it every 74 days, every 54 days, every 23 days. So, it's pretty much as you're using 57 documents, 69 documents, and 23 documents for Outlook and Google Docs and prosperity banking of Allpoint. Allpoint is using at least 3.3 million to promote more for that analyzation and analog. So, it's pretty much where you're using that district component to really avail to its scenery of 1937 to 2072. So, it's pretty much using Pontiac, you're using Charger, you're using Chrysler 300, you're using majority of the products of Enterprise at the time, as you focus more on 2014 of 2022. So, it's pretty much where you focusing on, more of that property being registered in your proposition, as you focus more on Waco to Wimberley, of Pflugerville at the time. So, that's pretty much where you're working with, um, not Pflugerville, but Round Rock at the time. So, as you focus more on Round Rock, that's pretty much where you focus on, a certain penal code within the land that only you can be in, and, being able to work on your own self-evident, platforms, as, knowing more about your own property exchanges is pretty much where you're looking for at the time. So, that's pretty much working with the beginning trade of the beginning of the beginning start of the trade. So, that's pretty much where you're working with the intermediate levels, and, understanding more about the skill level of 2027 to 2092, and, understanding more of Tank, of Chris Brown, of Plies, of Trey, of Killer Calleon, of Kurt Cobain, of Little Fat, of Rick Ross. You seeing, majority of that in 1927 to 2072. So, that's pretty much where you're looking at Georgia, you're looking at, Arizona, you're looking at Nevada, you're looking at Montana, Idaho, Kansas, Boston. You're looking all in that facility at the time. So, that's where you're looking at 1927 of 2036. And you see different depositions of that sort of type. So, it's pretty much working with 2036 of 2086. And, looking at the deposition of, time at the time. So, it's pretty much where you're looking at 2021 and 2054 at the time, and, using more of a declarated performance at the time. So, it's pretty much using gain of blade, of, pine soil, and, using more of that deposition to composite that good valence of property at the time. So, it's pretty much using, more of that deposition to applause that good weather feet. Okay, so that's it. Thanks Comcast, thanks Vivo.